Hello and welcome to Yoga for Absolute Beginners, and welcome to the first lesson of our course. We are going to start this course the same way we'll start most yoga practices, and that is with bringing some attention to our breath. In this course, we're going to focus on observing and exaggerating our natural breath with something called a four-part breath. And very simply, a four-part breath has four parts that we focus on, and that would be part one, our inhale, bringing the air into our body. Part two, a little pause you take at the top of your breath. Part three is your exhale, the air leaving your body. And part four is the little pause you take at the bottom of your breath. What's great about a four-part breath in yoga is the very first step is to just notice it. Just noticing each phase of your breath when you're coming to your mat to practice is a really good way to just tune into your body. And you don't have to change anything. If you're a fast breather, you can breathe fast. If you don't pause very long, you don't have to. Because the first step is just noticing each of those four phases. So that's the four-part breath we'll take in this practice. Now I'll have us bring it just a little bit further so that we can really make it a yoga breath by linking the subtle movement of our body with our breath. So the phases are going to feel a little different, and it's going to reflect what's happening in our lungs and our ribs. So for our yoga four-part breath, when you take an inhale, your body's going to expand a little bit. Your rib cage is going to grow a little bigger as your lungs fill with air. And then when you hold at the top, you'll have that nice kind of full rib cage. When you exhale, your rib cage will contract back towards the spine a little bit as your lungs empty and the air leaves. And then at the bottom of your breath, you just pause there before you draw another breath in and you start that four-phase breath again, just bringing attention. They're not really separate phases, but it allows you to focus on how you feel during the entire breath when you bring that attention and then link it to the natural movement of our body. So that's the main breath we'll focus on that in this course, because that's a really good yoga for absolute beginners breath, a nice simple four-part breath. Now our four-part breath is going to be really valuable when we're entering into a pose in our yoga practice. I'll cue you when we're in a new movement or position to bring attention to each phase of your breath. And that's because it's good to know how you feel when your lungs and ribs are expanding, when they're full, and then when they're contracting and they're empty in the different positions. So by bringing attention to your breath, you really get to connect with the movement or the pose that your body is in. So that's one way we'll use it, is when we're exploring and entering into a pose. And now another place we're going to use this four-part breath is when our mind is wandering. And it is going to happen in yoga. It's very rare you're going to come to practice and your mind is only going to focus on your breath and movement the entire time you're doing yoga. It's just a bit of an unrealistic expectation in modern society. Our lives are full of distractions and things that our mind will go to when we're doing something else. Pretty normal. So in yoga, if you notice that your mind is wandering, you get to then direct it back to what's going on right now by bringing attention to each phase of your breath. So you're on your mat and you are responding to emails, which is something you're not actually able to do right then. I invite you to let those emails go and feel the sensation of the inhale wherever you are, to hold it at the top, and then feel the sensation of the exhale and pause at the bottom. And that is your practice of meditation. It's noticing and then choosing to bring yourself back to the present moment and what you're doing. And in this case, it's yoga. Now, I like to take this a little bit further because I love at-home yoga practices. There are times when my mind is wandering during a yoga practice, but it's wandering somewhere really useful. I'm having a creative idea for a video, or I thought about somebody that I haven't reached out to, and you know what, I really should. They kind of popped into my mind. There's no problem with that. Sometimes I notice a thought and it's valuable, and I'll stop my practice for a second and go write myself a note or lay back and have the wonderful daydream I've somehow found myself in. But other times, I'm winning an argument with somebody I haven't seen in 5 years, and they posted on social media recently and I didn't agree. And well, that's not really what I'm doing right now in yoga. It's not something I can do anything about. It's not improving my day. So how about I let that thought go and come back into my practice? The key is not getting down on yourself for whatever it is that's distracting you. Our minds are busy, they're processing. It doesn't always even make sense, and that's okay. But when you notice the distraction, you can then observe it and think, is this valuable? Is it not? And if it's not, then you use your tool, you use your breath and noticing how it feels in your body to bring you back into the present moment. And now you have a meditation practice. That's a huge part of yoga. One of the great benefits. It's non-pressure meditation. You have something to direct your focus to without feeling guilty when your mind wanders. You just bring it back. What does it feel like when I inhale and get a little bigger? Hold at the top, exhale, let it out, and pause at the bottom for a few rounds of breath. And so that is the simple yoga breath that we are going to use throughout this course. You may notice that it follows you off of your yoga mat. Say you are somewhere that you're only doing what you're doing. You're driving, you're taking a shower, you can't really do much else, and your mind is wandering to things that are stressing you out. You can use your yoga breath right there where you are, wherever you are, to check in on how you're feeling. To be honest, a lot of the time, once you do that, you're going to notice that your posture is pretty bad. You're going to naturally kind of fix it, and then you feel a little bit better too. So starting this course, we are going to use our simple 4-part breath, just observing our natural breath, playing with it, exaggerating it sometimes, but that's going to be our standard simple breath work and meditation throughout the course. So in the next video, we're going to do a practice where we lay on our back and we link some very gentle movement of all of our major joints with our breath. So that'll be our follow-up practice. But in this video, I do want to cue us through a few rounds of 4-part breath, just so you can enjoy observing it a little bit. You can take this breath wherever you are, wherever you're listening or watching is great. But if you'd like to join me laying down on your back, that's also a really nice place to be able to relax and kind of feel your chest move. And then the same kind of in a chair with some support behind your back could be a good option. So I'm going to come to laying on my back with my knees and hips bent. That kind of keeps my lower back relaxed. And then if you like any type of pillow for your head or shoulders, bring that out as well. Yoga mat's not really needed, just laying somewhere comfortable would be good. We're going to leave a bend in our hips and knees, like I said, to relax the lower back. So without any props, what you would do is just bend your knees or plant your feet with your knees bent. And then gently let the knees fall into one another, and you can just adjust maybe the feet a little wider. Maybe the knees don't touch in, but just a little relaxing here. If you have some pillows or a yoga bolster you'd like to put under your legs and just let them rest over that, I'll show that. This is a really nice relaxed pose for the lower back as well. So feel free to set yourself up however you'd like, and we're just going to take a few rounds of breath here to end our first lesson. Starting to get into a comfortable space, maybe just sitting a little taller or really relaxing back onto the ground. Letting your hands and your feet relax, the shoulders relax. And then just start to notice each phase of breath. Notice your inhale and pause at the top. Your exhale and pause at the bottom. You can observe it as it is or start to change it a little bit if you want to breathe a little slower. Whatever feels good, just check in with your breath without anything else to do for a few moments here. And now I invite you to bring attention to the gentle, natural movement with your breath. As you inhale, expanding your chest a bit, letting the ribs lift up, holding at the top. And as you exhale, letting go, the ribs coming together and back towards the spine. Pausing at the bottom. Inhale, grow a little larger as the air enters and we expand and hold. Exhale, let it out as you sink back, pausing at the bottom. Feeling some subtle movement in the body with your breath. And you can be breathing in and out through your mouth or your nose. It's whatever's comfortable and accessible to you. I tend to reserve breath mostly through the nose in yoga, with an occasional open mouth sigh out to help let go of tension or heat whenever that feels like it's built up. So I'll end here with one of those breaths. If you'd like to join in, quickly exhale all the air out of your body. Just breathe it out. Take a nice slow inhale and hold at the top for a little longer. A little longer. Open your mouth and just sigh it out. If you're comfortable where you are, you're welcome to just stay here. If you're laying on your back and you'd like to lift up, I recommend rolling off to your side first and then gently pressing yourself up. A nice gentle way to leave laying on your back where some blood might have come and pooled in your head a bit. And so that was a few rounds of our 4-part breath, just in stillness, but observing the natural movement we have even when we're still with our breath. I hope that took some of the intimidation out of meditation, some of the kind of mystic qualities out, and just bring you into the tools that you can use to focus your attention. Because your breath is always with you in yoga and always with you outside of yoga. So if you can use it as a focusing tool to help you better navigate your days, then why not? That is the end of our lesson here. The next one is going to be a bit more movement with our breath, still in this reclined, gentle space before we get into our physical postures, sitting and kneeling and so forth. I hope you enjoyed the introduction to this class. Feel free to go on to the next lesson now or have it ready when you're ready to come back. I look forward to seeing you there.